I don't think anyone in Britain will ever achieve what Lennox Lewis achieved. I think he's the greatest boxer Britain's ever produced and will be.
I knew what I wanted to do, what I was going to go out there and do, and I went out and did it.
The 1990s heavyweight division is often hailed as one of the most talent-rich eras in boxing history. From devastating punchers to technical geniuses, the decade was stacked with fighters who could have headlined in any era. These are awesome punches. Oh, what a sensational right. Yet amidst the chaos of giants throwing bombs in the ring, one man emerged as the finest boxer of them all, Lennox Lewis. Unlike his contemporaries, Lewis retired without a single unavenged defeat, cementing his legacy as one of the most dominant heavyweights in history. From his early days in the UK to his rise as an undisputed champion, Lewis's career is a highlight reel of thunderous knockouts, masterful boxing displays, and historic rivalries. Today, we're diving deep into Lennox Lewis' greatest hits, reliving the moments that defined an era.
Менеджер Льюиса решили, что наступило самое время привести Леннокса Льюиса.
Lewis vs. Mike Weaver, 1991, the arrival of a future champion. By 1991, Lennox Lewis had already made a name for himself as Europe's #1 contender. However, to gain international recognition, he needed to test himself against seasoned veterans in the United States. His first major test came against former WBA heavyweight champion Mike Weaver on July 12, 1991. As the fight began, Weaver, known for his durability and punching power, came forward aggressively, looking to push the young British fighter into deep waters. Here we go, round 1 scheduled for 10, and Weaver comes right at Lewis. At first, the American crowd wasn't sold on Lewis. They booed, skeptical of the towering Brit's ability to hang with the best. But Lennox silenced them with a devastating right hand in the 6th round that sent Weaver crashing to the canvas. I never got suckered into that. I took my time until he exposed himself, and then I ended it. It was the first of many knockout victories that would define Lewis's rise to the top. Lewis vs. Donovan Razor Ruddock, 1992. A statement to the world. In October 1992, Lennox stepped into the ring against Donovan Razor Ruddock, one of the most feared punchers in the heavyweight division. Despite his impressive record, Lewis entered the fight as an underdog, the only time in his career. But Lennox had done his homework. Watching hours of tape on Razor Ruddock, I realized that he kept his left hand low, and I just took advantage of that. Lewis wasted no time, dropping Ruddock twice in the first round before finishing him off in the second. It was a brutal, one-sided destruction that left no doubt. Lennox Lewis was a force to be reckoned with. Lewis vs. Tony Tucker, 1993, proving his championship worth. By 1993, Lewis had been awarded the WBC heavyweight title after Riddick Bowe infamously dumped the belt in a trash can rather than face him. But critics argued that Lennox had yet to prove himself against a legitimate champion. His opportunity came against Tony Tucker, a former title holder known for his toughness. As the bell rang, Tucker tried to use his experience to keep Lewis off balance, but Lennox showcased his superior jab and timing, controlling the fight from the outset. In the 3rd round, Lewis landed a beautifully timed right hand that sent Tucker to the canvas, the first knockdown of Tucker's career. However, Tucker wasn't going down without a fight. In the 8th round, he unleashed a flurry of punches that had Lewis covering up, taking more punishment than in all his previous fights combined. But Lennox weathered the storm, regaining control and securing a unanimous decision victory. I give Tony Tucker a lot of respect. He's got a great chin, he's got guts. If that was Riddick Bowe, he would have been down on the ground. This fight solidified Lewis as a legitimate world champion.
Right, I don't take no shit off either of you. Shake hands, back to your corners, shake hands with your toe. And shake hands, right?
Lewis vs. Frank Bruno, 1993, the battle for Britain. Later that year, Lewis returned to the UK to face Frank Bruno, the beloved British veteran who had long been a fan favorite. The atmosphere was electric as Bruno's supporters filled the arena, cheering wildly for every punch he landed. For the first 4 rounds, Bruno boxed beautifully, utilizing his jab and testing Lewis' chin. Bruno pounding his fists together to jack himself up. But Lennox remained patient, knowing that Bruno's gas tank would eventually betray him. By the 7th round, Lewis began landing clean, unanswered shots, forcing referee Mickey Van to stop the fight. With this victory, Lennox gained the respect of the British public, proving that he was the true face of UK boxing. Lewis versus Tommy Morrison, 1995. A one-sided beatdown. On October 7, 1995, Lennox squared off against Tommy Morrison, the former WO champion known for his devastating left hook. Morrison, now sporting a more mature look, entered the fight hoping to re-establish himself as a top contender. "I think you'll be leery of my power." Everybody is, but Morrison's confidence quickly faded. Lennox picked him apart with surgical precision, jabbing him into submission before landing crushing right hands. Morrison's right eye swelled shut by the 5th round, and the referee had seen enough. A terrific performance by Lennox Lewis. With this victory, Lewis sent a message to the entire division. He was no longer just a dangerous contender. He was a dominant force. Lewis versus Oliver McCall, 1997. The bizarre rematch. Lennox's only professional loss had come against Oliver McCall in 1994, when he was caught with a perfectly timed right hand. Determined to avenge his defeat, Lewis brought in legendary trainer Emanuel Stewart to refine his skills. The rematch, however, turned into one of the strangest fights in boxing history. For the first few rounds, Lewis dominated, landing clean, powerful shots. But then, in a bizarre turn of events, McCall started walking away, crying in the ring. "I've seen some strange things in boxing, but this is one of the strangest." McCall refused to defend himself, leaving referee Mills Lane no choice but to stop the fight. It was a bizarre but satisfying revenge victory for Lennox, who had now erased his only career blemish. Lewis versus Shannon Briggs, 1998, surviving the storm. Next up was Shannon Briggs, a fearsome puncher who still holds the record for the most first-round knockouts in heavyweight history. Briggs came out like a madman, unloading wild punches and forcing Lewis to hold on for dear life in the opening rounds. Shannon's body seized up from overexerting himself. Once Briggs slowed down, Lewis took over, methodically breaking him down before landing a brutal knockout punch in the 5th round. Lewis vs. Klitschko. In what would be the final fight of his legendary career, Lennox Lewis faced off against the dangerous Ukrainian powerhouse Vitaly Klitschko on June 21, 2003. Initially, Lewis was set to fight Kirk Johnson, but when Johnson pulled out due to injury, Klitschko stepped in on short notice. Many saw this as a passing of the torch moment. Klitschko was younger, stronger, and considered the future of the heavyweight division. From the opening bell, Klitschko came out swinging, landing heavy shots and putting Lewis in a tough position early on. For the first time in years, it seemed like Lennox was in real trouble, as Klitschko won the early rounds with aggressive combinations. But Lewis, ever the warrior, adjusted his approach, landing devastating uppercuts and overhand rights that began to take their toll on the Ukrainian. By the 6th round, Klitschko's face was a bloody mess. A gruesome cut above his left eye was worsening with every exchange, and the ringside doctor had no choice but to stop the fight. Although Klitschko protested the decision, the damage was too severe, and Lennox was declared the winner by TKO. It was a fitting way for Lewis to retire, going out on top after one last war. He never fought again, leaving the sport as the undisputed heavyweight champion and one of the greatest to ever lace up the gloves. Lennox Lewis walked away from boxing with no unfinished business, having beaten every man he ever faced. His legacy remains untouchable, a testament to his skill, intelligence, and dominance in the golden era of heavyweights. Lewis versus Evander Holyfield, 1999, the undisputed champion. In March 1999, Lewis faced Evander Holyfield to unify the heavyweight division. Despite clearly outboxing Holyfield, the fight was ruled a controversial draw. The rematch, however, left no doubt. Lennox dominated with his jab, landed cleaner punches, and in the championship rounds, he emptied the gas tank, throwing combination after combination to secure victory. Finally, Lennox Lewis was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Lewis versus Mike Tyson, 2002. The final statement. Lewis's final masterpiece came against Mike Tyson in 2002. Though Tyson was past his prime, the build-up was intense. When the bell rang, it became clear that Lewis was levels above Iron Mike. With his crisp jab, pinpoint right hands, and sheer dominance, Lewis methodically broke Tyson down, stopping him in the 8th round with a devastating right hand. And just like that, Lennox Lewis had cemented himself as the greatest heavyweight of his era. The pugilist specialist, the last undisputed king, the one who beat them all.